Kanye West recently had an interview where, of course, he said some controversial things, and he specifically spoke about his experience in the fashion industry. He claims that he's been discriminated against because he is straight. So during this interview, he said the following: I felt that I got discriminated against in fashion also for not being gay, whereas in music, you definitely get discriminated against if you are gay. So this is interesting. Now, you think of the fashion industry, and yes, there are many people working in fashion who are gay, and it is accepted, and that's a great thing. But is there really discrimination? Do straight designers have a hard time climbing up that fashion ladder because of their sexual orientation? I don't know. Let's have that discussion.
Okay. Now, I'm not in the fashion industry. I don't know if you can tell. Okay. But, almost everything about the fashion industry irritates me to no end. But do they discriminate against straight people? Well, that would be a first, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if that first is going to happen, it might happen in the fashion industry, but it would be a first in this country or almost any country where they're going to pick on you for being straight, right? Mm-hmm. Now, look, I agree with Kanye that I don't think he's being discriminatory. He says, look, I think gay guys have it tough in music, right? Mm-hmm. And so I fight against that. And remember, of course, he's married to Kim Kardashian. Caitlyn Jenner is his, now, what do we say?
Father-in-law,
Father-in-law.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is it mother-in-law?
Mother-in-law?
I don't know. And look, we're on Caitlyn Jenner's side.
Yes.
We want to support her, but we just don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, we're all getting used to this, right? So, and it's a new experience to get used to an industry that does have a significant percentage of it that is gay. And so, hey, you know, if they are discriminating against straights, well, that's what they had to live with in every other industry. It doesn't make it right, by the way. Of course not, right? And the only person charging that at this point is Kanye. Mm-hmm. So don't take it as fact that they're doing that at all, right? But Kanye, I mean, here he goes again. But he said, look, I knew that I was going to take a lot of crap because as soon as you go into fashion, you get hit from both sides. Mm-hmm. He thinks he's getting hit for being straight on the fashion side. And he says, in the black community, they're going to say, you know, homophobic things about you because you're in fashion. Mm-hmm. He's probably right about that too. I mean,
I don't think he's right about, maybe he's right about
I think he's right because
No, I don't think he's right about any of it, okay? Here's the thing. People discriminate against Kanye West because he says stupid shit. Okay.
Well, that's definitely true.
So,
that's point number one. Let's just be clear about that.
And also, Kanye West's fashion is a joke, okay? I like fashion, okay? But when you're selling a white t-shirt for $150, yeah, people are gonna talk shit about you. That's just the way the world works, okay? Now, when you talk about straight people being discriminated against in the fashion industry, you're right? There's so many designers who just couldn't make it. Like, I don't know, Roberto Cavalli, who's straight, Tommy Hilfiger, who's straight, Ralph Lauren, who's straight, Rick Owens, who's straight, Oscar De La Renta, who's straight. I mean,
like, sure? I'm just kidding.
Okay, there's no discrimination against straight people in the fashion industry. People just don't like you, Kanye, and that's all right, okay? And then in terms of the black community judging him, there's a bunch of black individuals from the music industry who decided to transition or at least do more in the fashion industry in addition to their music careers, and no one's making fun of them. In fact, they're being applauded, okay? Puff Daddy's one of them. I don't know if they still call him Puff Daddy or Diddy, whatever. There were more that we were talked about in the production
I think some people do. I mean, I don't know about Diddy or Daddy or whoever he is, but I know now I sound like Bill O'Reilly. Whoever that guy is, get off my lawn, right? But I mean, even me, look, I'm from the old school, and I don't applaud myself. In fact, I denounce and reject myself. But when I saw Kanye talking about his designs, I was like, I thought, is he bi? Okay.
You're the worst.
No, I don't, look, because I'm a bad person and I'm trying to get better, okay? I'm trying to heal myself.
Are you really?
Okay, but so that I guarantee you some people are thinking that, right? Mm-hmm. So now, finally, he says, all my aspirations are things that currently only 60-year-old white people do. So I have to redefine and let people know exactly who I am. So to your charge, Anna, he's saying, look, 60-year-old white people always sell white T-shirts for $150. Why can't I sell a white T-shirt for $150? Yeah, that's a fair point because the fashion industry is preposterous. It's ridiculous. So if they're allowed to be ridiculous, why can't Kanye be ridiculous? In fact, he found a good home in the fashion industry. Mm-hmm. He's crazy. They're crazy. It's a good match, right? Mm-hmm. Neither one of them makes any sense. And then finally he said, when people try to take the piss out of me for clothing or this or that, they never think that I never had the opportunity to be properly educated. Which then at the end, God damn it, I was like, you got me a little sympathy.
No. Okay, a lack of education does not make up for the fact that he's a dick. I'm serious. Like, he's just a dick. Like, he thinks, look, here's the thing that sucks about Kanye. I like his music, okay? I like his music, and I listen to it, and it pains me to hear him speak because he's a dick. He thinks very highly of himself. I feel like sometimes he looks down at other people, and he thinks that he's like some revolutionary genius. He's not a revolutionary genius. Calm the fuck down.
Yeah, I mean, he does have that view of himself, which is grating on everyone else, of course. And it's, I'm sure, backed up by everybody in his circle who's constantly telling him, Kanye, you're such a genius. They don't understand. You're such a genius,
yeah,
right?
You're probably right about that.
Right, and when he's backed up into a corner, now his reaction is, oh, you're discriminating against me because I'm straight, and, you know, I didn't have an education, so don't pick on me. But, you know, Kanye, people wouldn't have picked on you if you didn't shove your balls in their face, right? And say, like, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. Here's my balls on the table, right? Then people go like, hey, can you get your balls off my table?
Yeah, no, no one wants balls on their table.